Welcome to the Albritton Letters, again with Philip and Lloyd Albritton. We are minus any brothers with us today.
Well, we invited them, but, they have other priorities.
Well, it's just as well. They might take exception to our subject today. Which is
Gregor, he's hard to deal with.
Yeah, he I don't think he likes trees.
All he
We
does
want to
is-
talk about trees.
All he does is complain about us putting our hands in his face.
I know.
He wants to get one of the outside seats. And
Right.
we want to put him in the middle. He's lucky we put Avis on a surf can, so we wouldn't have that problem. But Gregor wouldn't sit on the surf can.
Yeah, I took exception to him constantly talking about putting hands in. Because you don't do that. When you're on the camera, you just do it. You don't call attention to the mistakes. You just go through it.
You know what I think? I think he thinks he's better than us.
Yeah, I think so.
But anyway, that don't work. We're both older than him, so that makes us the boss.
We'll just be mum on it. And I've already put the pressure on him about worrying about it today when he said he couldn't come.
You did?
I put some pressure on him.
You taught him?
Yeah,
You make him cry.
subconscious. No, he wrote back and he said, Philip, you put so much pressure. I feel so pressured. And I wrote back and I said, no pressure. Just don't worry about it.
Well, you may, Gregor's pretty tough. We used to have to get him down and put Charlie horses on his leg, but eventually we could make him cry. But the problem is when he started crying, he was all at the same time he was getting mad, and then he was dangerous.
He was dangerous.
He would hurt you.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's inconsequential to our subject.
No, we got it covered. We don't need him.
I ain't gonna go there. But, anyway,
we don't need him. We can handle it. The topics we're picking, you don't have to be a genius to have a comment on it.
And as I always say,
just have an opinion. That's all.
I always mention this in the comments of the podcast that we don't try to be professional on any subject. We just talk about it. We don't try to answer any big questions. We don't try to solve.
We don't have to have the answers to bring it up.
No, we just talk about it.
That opens up a whole lot when you don't have to have an answer.
Yeah.
You just bring up problems.
But my question today, my first question for you is to start this topic of this discussion
Okay,
off.
go ahead and start it.
Now, aside from the obvious concern for trees by environmentalists, what is it a pejorative term to be called a tree hugger?
What does that mean, pejorative?
I mean, you're saying something bad. It's a negative.
To be a tree hugger?
Yeah.
No, I think there are people who go overboard with it, but obviously the trees are important to our environment.
Why? Why are trees important?
Well, because they sustain life itself. The trees give off. What is it they give off? Carbon dioxide or oxygen?
We give off carbon dioxide.
So
And they
trees
give off
oxygen,
Yeah.
which is necessary to life.
Right.
And so God, had that all working out together and everything. When He put it all together, He gives trees. And so we have to renew our trees and take care of them. And they're also put there for us to use to build houses and stuff.
I know, but we hear this term thrown out when, let's say, a developer is going to clear all the trees to build houses. Mm-hmm. And these people, environmentalists, come in and say, no, you can't cut down these trees.
Right.
And so it's another tree hugger creating problems for development,
Well, I think that kind of means unreasonable.
Maybe. But there are cases where they could salvage some trees. And many times they do cut down more than they really need to.
I'm sure they do. Well, you could say the same thing about wars in the world. I mean, are wars necessary? We've always had them since the beginning of time.
Why not keep on?
Are they necessary? I don't know. We hadn't figured out how to avoid wars, and we hadn't figured out how to not cut down the trees. But in these times, we do have environmental people that fight for the rights of the trees.
Well, not just.
And I don't know if that's a bad thing. Really.
It's not just the trees, but it's the air, the frogs, the owls, and all these.
They all live in the trees.
Yeah.
So no, I'm for trees. So make no mistake about that. I'm for the trees.
What are good are there for trees and for humankind? What's trees for?
Well, they sustain the wildlife. You just said that, the birds and the bees and all.
Yeah.
and they also provide material for us humans to build our homes.
There you go. You got to cut that wildlife down and destroy the frogs just so we can build a house.
No, it's not just so. The house is necessary. And we are, it's sort of like some people are accused, like Americans are accused of being arrogant.
Yeah.
We say God loves America. God bless America. It's right in the song.
Well, it does.
God bless America. Well, what about your favorite high school football team? Is God on their side as well? I mean, when we pray for the game, before the game, do we pray that we will win?
And the other side does too.
The other side's over there praying that they will win, right? No, they really don't. We pray that we can do our best in the winter, whatever.
But yeah, I agree the trees are necessary for building homes out of wood when you do the wood.
Well, let me finish my thought. The thing is man God's highest creation? So that all the things of the earth, this is what most of us believe, that all things of the earth are here to serve our purposes. Even the animals, we kill them and eat them.
He created the earth and the things on the earth before he created man.
But he put them here for us. He knew we were coming. And he put it all here for us so that we can kill the animals and eat them.
Well, he also gave us the wisdom and the knowledge and the skills to propagate and grow new trees just strictly for that purpose of building. So we would, we cut out a piece here out of the hill, let that grow back, cut a piece out over here.
Well, in the early history of man began immediately to destroy all trees.
For burning, for fire.
For fire and all of that. And we did destroy forests that we needed, and we had to go. It was a big country. We just went somewhere else. And then in the meantime, the trees by nature sprung back up. Now, since then, we use so much of the wood that we've realized we better plant some more trees. We can't just wait for nature. So as soon as we clear the woods, we go in and we plant some more trees. Takes about 20 years or so, right?
Yeah.
For a new tree to grow. Not like soybeans. Takes 20 years. So we plant some more trees.
Well, let's review just a second the thing that we benefited most coming up as kids. How do kids benefit most from trees?
We climbed them.
That's one. We climbed them. What else?
The trees. We climbed them. We use that pine. The pines. We use that pine straw.
Materials from the tree.
Materials, turpentine.
Sap. Those trees up north, maple trees for syrup.
Yeah.
And now also when we were when we were little, we'd do camping out in the woods, just extemporaneous, without tents or nothing. We'd just camp, and a lot of times we made huts out of the limbs that had fallen from the trees and the pine straw and stuff.
That's right.
So a form of shelter. You make shelter.
We made some. Yeah. That's what they do in some of the third world countries. They take the limbs and they make grass huts, they call them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what they live in.
I can remember climbing around all those pine trees around Nokomis when we were kids. And the little ones that were big enough to climb up, but they weren't that tall, you could climb up and then swing, you bend them, they'd bend over and let you go to the ground.
Kind of like riding a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was just a fun thing.
A thrill. Yeah.
Of course, it left pine tree bent for a while.
Bent, and then the tree would grow up with a bent back.
Poor trees.
And the landowner would come out and see the bent trees, and he said, "Been some boys around here somewhere climbing trees." Well, how else would this tree get?
Yeah, well,
get bent.
I
don't think the raccoons are doing it.
Yeah. I feel sorry for those people. Although I love going out to New Mexico and Arizona, I love that country, but I feel sorry for them, but not having trees like we do.
Mm-hmm.
And Atlanta is very well known for having. The city of Atlanta has more live original trees still standing than any other city in the country. That's what I heard.
They do? Well, I wouldn't doubt it.
So.
Yeah. Well, Georgia's got that rich soil down there. But they got, we build homes out of not just trees. It used to be primarily wood.
Yeah.
But brick. Out on the prairie, they didn't have any trees, and they just made mud and let it harden up. And what do they call those? Adobe?
And rocks. They just pile up rocks.
Pile up rocks and make blocks out of dirt, mud. They built houses that way. Didn't necessarily take trees, but the wood is still the premier, don't you think? I mean, we have all the different kinds of wood.
Not anymore. I think concrete's more often used for building, not necessarily here, but around the world. Concrete is
in the cities.
Well, anywhere the concrete blocks and the concrete structures that are built using the computer printing. They use concrete. It's the same machine, same kind of design that prints like 3D printing, and they build a whole house with that machine.
How about that?
Concrete. But we're getting away from wood to trees.
But if you were rich people, wood has a certain beauty that's found nowhere else. The grain of the different kinds of wood.
Well, anything, furniture.
If you could build, you had the money to build any house you wanted, you'd probably go with wood, wouldn't you? Wood floors, hardwood floors.
Well, around here,
you
yes.
have more wood.
But not in the Philippines.
They don't have no woods.
They don't have wood. Houses aren't made of wood. They're made of concrete.
What about all those jungles they have over there?
Well, they use bamboo. They make these little bamboo huts because they get blown over. They just build another one real quick.
Huh.
But they don't build very few. The houses are built from lumber to wood because it rots. It's a tropical place. Storms will blow it down.
Well, if they treated it, it would.
Yeah, but that's much more trouble than building a concrete block house.
So why do we in America use the trees?
Because we have so many.
Because we have an abundance of it.
Yeah.
That's why we're the places where they don't have trees, they turn to something else.
Exactly. Right.
They come up with another idea. Even in Japan, they have paper houses. Of course, paper's made from wood.
Well, I was going to touch on we make paper from trees. Yeah.
Paper, yeah.
And,
Paper's made. That's why we have a paper mill.
We have a paper mill.
That's why you see the truckload of
paper cups. I think
cups,
not
boxes,
necessarily
the packing boxes.
Packing boxes, cardboard boxes. Now, a lot of the utensils that used to be made out of paper are turning to plastics, or they have for many years. Now they're getting away from plastics again because of the environmental detriment.
It doesn't degrade.
Right. But for many years, many decades, they went to plastics instead of paper bowls and plates and stuff. But it all comes from trees, all that stuff. Even some of the plastic things they use the tree sap.
Well, the fact that the tree, what's the word, biodegradable.
Yeah.
If a tree drops in the woods, eventually it'll rot and turn back into dirt.
If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound if nobody's there to hear it?
I've heard that question all my life, and the correct answer is no. It does not make a sound.
Because sound is only the product of ears that receive the vibrations.
It's vibrations. If there's nothing there to receive the vibration, then there's no sound.
There's no sound. Yeah, that's science. I'm glad you brought some science in there.
I brought some science into it, didn't I? Kidneys, man, kidneys.
You got a favorite tree?
Well, my favorite tree is, of course, the oak tree. That's the big one. That's the big daddy of big trees, at least here in the South. They have out in California the big redwood trees.
Yeah, have you ever been there and seen them?
I have.
Yeah.
I've been to Sequoia.
Have you been up to the redwoods near Oregon? Those big trees.
I haven't seen them.
I went through. I saw Sequoia, and then up there in Northern California.
Is that a form of oak tree?
No, it's an evergreen.
Evergreen tree.
They're evergreens.
Well, what we're familiar with here in the South is the pine tree, and that has been king because they make paper out of it.
Pine trees weren't originally growing here naturally.
In the South, they didn't.
No, it was hardwood trees mostly, but pine trees became more prominent because of the need for wood and paper to make. Well,
they grow pine. You tell me if this is true or not. If you leave a vacant lot out there and you don't touch it for 100 years,
oak tree will grow.
Ultimately, an oak tree, but first it'll grow pine trees. It'll grow brushes, and then the pine tree. The early seedlings have to have shade, so the brush provides the shade for a pine tree to start coming up, and then it needs sunshine. And so a pine tree will mature in about 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, but pine trees won't naturally grow out there just on their own without some seeds falling from other pine trees, the cones.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But they would do that. I mean, the old pine trees would drop seeds and they would start growing some new pine trees.
Well, the reason...
But ultimately, what I'm saying, that lot will turn into an oak tree. It'll turn into a hardwood forest.
You know why that is? Because the birds eat the acorns, and they go out there and they take a dump. And they take a dump on a limb or a bush, and an oak tree will be in the poop, and it grows another oak. I can't control the oak trees over there in my yard because of the birds.
Well, I was going to say the same thing. There's little oaks growing in the flower beds and stuff because that acorns are dropping.
Yeah.
From the big huge oak tree.
And the birds will eat it, and it goes right through them, and they poop it out.
Yeah. It takes that oak tree a long time to mature.
Well, yeah.
And many of them won't mature because the environment's not right. But the ones that do survive, and they have deep roots, and so they last through storms and stuff. Well, pine trees have fairly shallow roots.
Well, one reason that the building trade went to pine trees is because of the speed it grows. Oak trees take a long time, like I said, to mature. It takes a long time before you get enough wood to build a house.
Yeah, you can't grow a crop of them.
Yeah,
it's not practical.
But yeah, there is concern nowadays for the trees being eliminated in huge numbers, like the bees. Honeybees are being eliminated, and that's a concern for the.
Because they live in oak trees?
No. That's the bees. They don't have nothing to do with trees.
Well, I thought we were talking about trees.
It's just humans are developing, and they'll develop a whole area that destroy. And the bees don't have the wild flowers anymore. The trees are gone, so now mankind has to use their smarts. Oh, let's plant some more trees over here that nobody can touch, like a national forest or a national park. But we still have criticism from people who want to go in there and use that national forest, that national park. They want to go in there and build a motel so they can make a lot of money.
Well, of course, yeah, that's kind of short-sighted. But we need motels as well.
People stay at home, we wouldn't need motels.
People don't stay home, but they want to get out and have a motel, to stay at.
Did you ever have a tree house? Did we have tree houses?
We had tree houses, yeah. Sometimes we build us a tree house, drag some lumber out in the woods there somewhere from around the house.
We'd actually build it up in the tree?
Yeah. I
don't remember ever doing that.
Well, me and Ronnie did it.
Y'all had a hammer. Daddy let y'all use the hammer.
He wouldn't let y'all have that hammer. Because he said stay away from that machinery. He wouldn't let y'all handle any machinery.
Mama sent me one time to get some medicine up at Mama Albritton's. And it was only less than a mile up there, and I had to walk up the road and come back. And I can remember going down the road, and Gregory was with me. He was trailing along behind me. And I had this medicine, these pills, and I pick up rocks, and I was throwing rocks, and and we were playing and running over here and looking at the frogs in the ditch. And I got to the house, and Mom says, "Where's the medicine?" I don't know. I had it. Gregory, hi Gregory. He was a little kid, and so I told Mama, I don't know what happened to it, and let me go and see if I can find it. And I think maybe you went with me, or Ronnie dragged me back down the road, and we found it. I had just with them rocks, I had thrown that medicine over in the ditch at a frog or something. It just kept on going.
I forgot what you were doing.
But I think I might have done that. Daddy might have known that I might have done that with the hammer. If he loaned me the hammer or
probably, yeah, because we didn't have but one hammer.
And I would have just lost it in the woods or something.
Well, much of that is childhood thinking, which some of us never really get totally out of.
Yeah.
I mean, I do stuff like that all the time.
But what were we talking about? I was telling you about the trees and the story.
Symbolic. Well, there's a little tree poem. I don't know all of it, but I can probably quote you the first verse. Okay. It goes a little something like this here. The tree that never had to fight for sun and something and light never became a forest king, but lived and died a scrubby thing. And then it goes on to say the man who never had to fight becomes the same thing, a forest king. So we are symbolically comparing the tree that has to endure the hurricanes and the storms and all of that.
Strength and stability.
It builds strength, and we're insinuating that mankind, like a tree, becomes stronger through adversity.
I've heard the term stand tall like a tree. That kind of thing.
Yeah. So trees give us symbolically examples of humanity.
Yeah. What else I got on there?
Well, let's see. You got one here that says, "Can we get along or live without the tree?"
Oh, we've talked about that. Yeah.
Well, we couldn't because just for the oxygen.
Yeah, but I mean, bushes also give off oxygen. It's not just the tree. Anything with green plants,
I know, but
trees are by far the biggest producer. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we need that. Otherwise, we'd have to like go slow, or we wouldn't breathe so deep.
Yeah,
we'd all be walking around.
We'd be carrying around that little oxygen tank.
We'd all have to have a little oxygen tank. We wouldn't have enough oxygen.
Yeah. But we'd be able to see a long ways because there'd be no trees to block our view.
That would be the positive side of it, yeah. I don't know how positive that really is.
Just ask somebody from Arizona.
Yeah, well, I never really want to see that far anyway, much further than, well, I can't see anyway because your eyes get bad as you get older.
Yeah. Well, there's a term, I know you're familiar with it. We grew up with the term of a mechanic that works on cars in his yard as a shade tree mechanic. So the shade of the tree also would block sunlight. If he's out there working, it's a cooler place to work outside, or to have a picnic under the shade, or when you're camping, you're under the shade. Mm-hmm. Trees.
Well, when we were kids, we used to have the family garden, and we'd pick the peas, and then we'd go find us a shade tree and get us some kitchen pans, and we'd sit down there and shell the peas under the shade tree.
Yeah.
Now, in the South, we have this thing called humidity. And you can get under a shade tree and you'll still be pretty hot, but at least you're out of the sun. Yeah. Now, if you go to a dry climate, I lived in Colorado and California, you have a dry climate, there's a lot bigger difference being under the shade tree than it is here in Alabama. You can get under the shade and you can be fairly cool, getting out of the sun. Here, you can get under the shade and you'll still be hot and muggy.
Right.
But it helps.
I was up there when my battery died in my truck a few weeks ago. I had pulled into the AutoZone up there by Walmart, and he checked my battery. Needed a new battery, so he came out and he brought the battery to install it. He's looking. It was hot that day. He looked at me and he said, "You would have thought these people that built this place would have put in some trees around here for us to work on the cars under." He didn't have a tree on the parking lot. It was like, it's right up there by, that little place by that telephone place, the Domino's Pizza, whatever that is. And the AutoZone was built there. And they didn't put a single tree anywhere around there.
Well, where they build housing developments, nowadays, I guess for the pure efficiency of it, instead of picking and choosing the trees, they just come in and clear the whole space out. And then they'll go back in and they'll build houses. And then they'll come in and plant some new trees. I see a lot of people down here in the South with palm trees. A palm tree is not natural to the South. They ship them in from somewhere. The whole
not
tree.
even like South Florida?
I don't think so. I don't think palm trees are that natural to us.
Even in South Florida?
I could be wrong.
Palm Beach, West Palm Beach.
Well, I know they aren't here in Atmore, Alabama. They aren't natural here. If you see a palm tree, you know the guy bought it somewhere and had it shipped in.
I bet it don't grow coconuts either.
Probably don't grow coconuts. I see houses where people build a house, I don't know, say 10 acres of land right in the middle of the farmland.
Yeah.
There's no trees whatsoever.
I know.
So people plant trees for art. It's an aesthetic.
Landscaping.
Landscaping is like inside you might put a picture or something. Yeah. But people also put plants inside too. But plant life is symbolic of beauty, natural beauty. So that's why people landscape their lot. They put some trees out there.
Yeah, if they just planned a little more carefully, they could have salvaged the trees that were already there.
Yeah. Probably so.
But they went in and their plan was to build a house here, okay, we got to get rid of all these trees because we want to put our house right here. Instead of like some architects in the past have used their skills to build homes and buildings and everything, incorporating the natural landscape, some trees. There'd be a tree in an office in Atlanta. You go into this big nice office and there's a tree growing in this enclosed space. You know, it was there before they put.
Well, you know, out in Colorado they have these aspen trees. They have a white bark. They're beautiful. Up in the mountains, the higher climates, you have more of those. I was working on a project up in not Ouray, but Montrose, Colorado. Up on a mountain, they were putting in a development, a golf course housing development, and they went in there and they had to thin the forest. You know, if they're going to build something, they didn't destroy it. Those trees, you don't just go in and tear those down and that put you in jail.
Right, there's fines.
At least in Colorado. But they'd have experts come in and they would mark the trees and they would select. And I've sat and watched these machines they can just go up to the top of the tree and just grind it down below the root. And they would mark trees that needs to go in order so that the others could prosper better. And they would go in and just pick these trees and just that machine go down and just grind it away all the way down to the roots.
Wow.
And that's how they would thin the forest, by selecting maybe the weaker trees or the ones that maybe had some disease already or whatever. And they would get those out of there so that when you go through those developments, all the trees are healthy and beautiful and spaced just right. It didn't grow naturally that way. They had to go in and
there's an effort
manicure the forest.
Every state you go in the state parks where you can camp, most of them that I've been in, they have rules about bringing in wood from other places, from other trees that might be diseased. You're not supposed to bring wood in there.
That's right.
Hungry Mother State Park in Virginia, they have a rule that says you can bring wood, but you got to burn it all. You got to burn it. Don't leave it laying around. It could have bugs from somewhere. But they allow you to do it, but you have to burn it.
Well, again, wood goes the way of humans. The early American Indian, the Native Americans, millions of them were killed by disease brought over by Europeans.
Foreign diseases.
Europeans who lived with those diseases never bothered them. But the early Native Americans didn't have an immunity system. Same way in Hawaii. The missionaries would go over there and bring diseases because Europeans didn't take baths and, they didn't. And they ate all kind of the wrong foods and stuff. And they would take all these diseases over there and these people would just die by the millions because they had no immunity system to these kind of bacteria.
It'd be like us going to we say we find another Earth, we'll go colonize another Earth. We don't know what's there. We might go in there and it immediately kill us, whatever.
Maybe. The same thing exists like with animals, like dogs. Man's best friend is the dog, they say. And, dogs are nasty. A dog will eat his own poop. I mean, they're nasty. But they're our best friend, and as long as we keep them clean and manicured,
brush their teeth,
file their nails and stuff, we can live with them. But a pack of wild dogs, now, Tarzan accepted, living with all the apes and everything. Chances are Tarzan wouldn't have made it because these apes out there in the jungle, they probably had bacteria and germs that would have killed Tarzan in reality. Because man is not designed to live in that kind of environment. But you got to be careful with dogs. You can pick up stomach viruses and stuff that will make us sick.
I tried to write a story one time about your and Travis's trip to Houston, and I wrote several chapters, but the title of it was Tree Dogs, and it had to do with trees and dogs. You know what a tree dog is? A dog with a tree. An animal he'll a
tree-eating dog, I would have called it.
Tree dog. Yeah, the term tree dog refers to a dog that will
little tree.
He'll find the animal in the
Right,
tree.
like a squirrel. We used to hunt squirrels with dogs.
Okay, we got to close this out.
Is it time
Once
already?
again, we've spent 30 minutes talking about something mostly useless.
Well,
But-
God bless the trees. That's all I
Yes,
can say.
trees are good.
I'm for them. I'm
Yeah.
for the trees.
We might all be end up living in the trees eventually.
That's right. That's right.
So,
But it's been fun, Philip, and
yeah,
maybe one of these days we'll come up with some answers.
maybe. Yeah. Okay. See y'all next time.
All right. Yeah. So long.